and gentlemen, my name is HiRezBart. I'm the esports manager at Hi-Rez Studios, and welcome to the SMITE Launch Tournament. $200,000 on the line. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the things to look forward to in the tournament and things around the scene. Joining me in order, going, let's say, counterclockwise from the left is COG's MLC St3alth, Psiyo from Team Cloud9, Team Solo Mid's YOUNGBAE, and team-dignitas' Lassiz. Gentlemen, welcome to Atlanta. So we'll open up the floor here with the first question being just primarily differences between EU and NA play, what you expect to see from either side, and how you think, maybe your team can, I guess, bring something new to that fold. So I'm going to start with YOUNGBAE because I know that he is shy and I'll put him on the spot. So what do you got?
The difference between EU and NA meta?
Yeah.
Pretty much like the NA are more consistent when it comes to the picks and bans. They tend to pick like the same consistent team that wins them the games and who are like all-round solid, like Tier for example and Ra, who can do a lot of things really well. Compared to EU, tend to kind of vary more into gods that aren't used as much. Like I know Psiyo plays Nemesis mid for example.
Yeah.
I don't know why. He just does it and somehow it works.
So, do you think that North American teams are more are they narrowed in what strategies they can run based on those desires to pick those high utility gods, or do you think that those gods are strong enough that they can kind of run any comps? Or do you think there's an edge there for EU and the ability to kind of adapt or run something that can't be stopped by those, best in slot style picks?
I think it's because they kind of want to be able to do well against every type of team comp that enemy team picks. So they have certain guys like Ra. You can't really beat Ra in lane because he just outpushes everyone and he has a lot of sustain and a lot of damage as well. I don't think it's because, they're kind of scared of what the other team might pick. I think it's just they're just more solid in with those picks that they go for, and because they are solid in those picks, they tend to pick it over and over again and get really, really good at it.
Sure.
Where, for example, COG's dominance in the NA scene, they always have their specific picks that they want, like Tier, Freya, Ra, for example. And you can't really counter that, honestly, because Freya's jungles, even though you get shut down early game, she brings back a lot of that in the late game. And Ra's is really strong early game, and so is Tier, for example.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to have a very bad stage at any point in the game.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think, Lassiz? Is that true? You being a player that kind of brings the unconventional jungle, especially in Athena, to the table, do you think that, do you guys feel like in the picking and banning stage you're looking for specific picks and you have comfort zone, or is it, do you feel like it's a fluid thing?
Well, I don't know, we like the unconventional picks because when people don't play against something too often, they're not used to it, they're not expecting something. For example, Athena jungle, no one expects your mobility. From the support maybe, and not putting out a lot of damage, so it's not really that frightful. But from a jungle, you get ulted for 800-900, and you're like, what the hell just happened to me?
Defender of Olympus, very strong. Yeah. So kind of transitioning out of that, difference between NA and EU play. There hasn't been a tremendous amount of inter-regional scrimming or play, tournament play, but what do you think Dignitas is well suited to go into international play?
I certainly do, but they're definitely more versatile, and in a sense, like I just said, something we don't expect, and we're just excited. We kind of regret not doing any scrims against EU teams, but no one likes dealing with the ping anyway.
Sure.
But we're just excited for the tournament.
Well, you guys do have a lot of LAN experience as well. Probably the most tenured team in LAN play. So definitely, you think that's going to give you an edge?
I certainly hope so.
Yeah, I would think so. So going over to Psiyo, Cloud9, #1 seed coming into the tournament.
Number 2.
Number 2? Oh, that's right. TSM is #1. I'm an idiot. Okay. Yeah. So as not as the #2 seed, but as one of the European teams that people are going to be looking at for innovation, I think, especially out of your role. How do you think that that's something that you can live up to? Do you think people will have lofted expectations about what to expect out of EU? Because before this, right, you were saying I think that the metas are more similar than people expect.
Yeah, it's more similar than people what they perceive to see. It's pretty basic, like jungle, dual lane, you have a carry there, a solo lane carry, mid lane. That's it. Just it differs a bit in what gods we pick basically. That's like these two already says. We tend to be more experimenting with what could work. We can, for example, put a ranger D in the dual lane and be we run Chronos and soul lane and like range D in the soul lane mid, and crawlers in dual lane. Then you put like a bruiser in mid and like a magical jungler. So it's like we kind of mix it up a bit, and I don't know, like live up. I'm gonna try my best.
So what about like double bruiser lanes?
Double
like that we
bruiser-
see like
oh,
like 5i and
there's
like those kind of guys run.
There's two teams actually in EU that are not qualified.
Yeah.
I don't know, it was like I5 or something.
Yeah, i5
And some other team, they run like when you and Hercules, it's really obnoxious to play against. We have not practiced it too much, but it's really hard to play against. The only problem we have is when you start fighting early on and the Ranger D has really good positioning and you have like your support peeling well, they will have like a lot of trouble just getting to them. You know?
Very susceptible to slows as well.
But in lane it's very strong. It's very punishing. If you make a mistake against two bruisers, you're dead. Like, it's very punishing.
So moving on to MLC St3alth here, coming in as the #1 seed, undefeated in the qualifier play. You know, you don't seem to have a great anyone really close to you in NA right now. I mean, with you know basically an 8-0 victory. Are you looking at the EU teams thinking that maybe they're closer than, say, the 2nd seed Dignitas?
I mean, the EU teams, we haven't really gotten much practice against them. Because it's hard to scrim, because Lassiz said the ping.
Who is the best team not represented here? So, top 2 seeds from each region here sitting on the couch with me. But there's a 3rd and a 4th in each region as well. So from NA, you have SMITE and Denial. From EU, you have Team, Coast, and SK Gaming. And I'll just leave this one open to the floor. You guys can take it as you please. And if you don't answer, I'll point you out. But who do you think is the strongest team out of the 3rd and 4th seeds from either region?
I think the best team that's not here is probably SMITE. Denial has fallen off a bit.
It's not because you used to play for him, is it?
No. They're just really strong. It was definitely a competition between like SMITE and Dignitas. I think it was going to be the 2nd seed. And Denial has just fallen off a little bit, I think. And I don't really know much about the EU teams. But
Well, why do you think that? So why do you think that SMITE is strong? I mean, when we were kind of talking about beforehand, it was like, okay, well, if we ban out Shing's gods, what can they do? So in the case that they banned out Thanatos and whoever else's flavor of the week is this week.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a funny joke to make, like saying we're just going to ban like 2 gods and Shing's out. But I still think he's like really good and really strong on pretty much anybody. And he's really aggressive. He's really smart too. I think he's a pretty good jungler.
It seems that a lot of the North American teams live and die by the jungler. I think that's, you know, maybe for Denial, I mean, do you think that it starts with Pon? It seems like if he has a good game, they win.
Yeah. Jungler is just a giant part of the game. I feel if my jungler is doing really bad, then the mid automatically does bad too. I can't. If he's like 0-5, then I'm also going to be joining him in that.
Are you going to let Anister play Freya? Or Fenrir?
He hasn't played Fenrir in forever.
I know, why not?
It's so fun.
Yeah.
I love Alquang Fenrir. That's my favorite thing in the entire game. Just eat the like tank every time because he's not going to have beads and just free kill.
Yep.
And it's 4v5 like all game because we just eat him. I told him we should do that. I don't think anybody listens to me.
Nah. You're just the mid laner.
So
What do you know? So what do you think? Best team out of 3 4s.
For Europe, it has to be SK Gaming.
Yeah.
Just because I think they theorycraft a lot about starts, right? So, which means they can catch you off guard really quickly. It happened to us like once or twice in the qualification. We just get dropped out. You know, it's like one play, make it like your speed buff, and they know it's Freya. It's a bad early start, and then you're just done for it, you know. And I think SK is really good at doing this, and then snowballing the advantage. You know, like just keep on focusing the role they took out in the beginning. And I think this is what makes them really strong. But Team Coast, like you mentioned earlier, is like recently picked up really like a lot of momentum, I guess.
You like SK over SMITE and Denial?
I think Denial and SK are really close. I think SMITE is stronger than Denial. Just because I think the individual players are better. They get more solid, you know, like they've been performing better and better every week. And I just think Denial is a really good team, right? I guess they perform really good at lands because they have experience.
Similar to SK, I mean, very aggressive early starting strats tend to help them win games.
But when, you know, if this goes wrong, then the whole game will go wrong.
Right.
So it's very risky.
Yeah, you run into
I think SMITE is more solid.
some ugly situations. Gentlemen, what do you think?
Well, yeah, I also have to say SMITE.
Also SMITE? Everyone loves SMITE.
Yeah, well, I mean, I kind of like Shing.
Yeah, you do.
He's like a little cute guy, you know?
Yeah, the old Shingy.
But the only problem I have with them, but I mean, it's no secret, once they get down and like their morale goes anything below average, rest of the game in.
How do you think switching Allied over to the Hunter role worked for them?
I mean, I don't know. I guess it's okay. I always thought he was just the most beast support ever. I mean, you know, the guy taught me how to freaking play inside lane. So.
Yeah.
But I don't know. He does very well. That's not what I'm saying, but I just think his support was just on a whole other level.
Yeah. Hey, what do you think?
I'm gonna go with Coast.
Coast number team.
SMITE because I think like Coast, I think they're the underdogs in this tournament.
Yeah.
I think they can definitely pull out.
The least seed points coming into the event.
Yeah, they can definitely pull out some upsets in the tournament, I feel.
What do you think is the key to Coast's success?
They're very like, either if they have like a really bad game, then they probably will lose that game, just because of how, you know, the momentum from how they start from like the first couple of minutes. If it's bad, then the whole game will be bad. If they have a good start, they really know how to capitalize on their lead, and especially because I think Fumble is a really good AD carry. He's really underrated. In my opinion, he's one of the best in Europe, especially when he plays on. He's really scary on that guard. But yeah, I think they've won a lot of scrims against us the last couple of weeks prior to the launch tournament, and yeah, I can definitely see some potential in them, and I feel like they're really gonna pull it off.
Will we see side lane Agni from Spoo? Bringing it back to old days, the old bipolar method days.
That is old school.
Stealth, you guys will be playing Coast in the first games tomorrow.
Yes.
What do you think about that matchup? How do you guys think you do against Coast?
I mean, I think we're gonna win. I don't really know anybody on Coast. I don't really know what they do, and I don't know. I think we're gonna win.
Just confidence, blind confidence.
Yeah, very naive, blind, dumb confidence. But I think we're gonna win.
Nice, nice.
It's a
and
worst
then
answer.
the other matchup that day that'll be on the main stage is going to be Cloud9 versus SMITE. So I mean, how do you feel about going up against SMITE, considering that everyone picks them as the second strongest team?
Even we.
Even you, yeah.
Even us. I don't know. It will be a really tough and hard fought match, I think.
Yeah. What do you think the key? If you win, how do you win?
How do we win? If we shut down Allied or Xing early on, if we get like maybe a good early invade or like a really good early game on one of those lanes, dual lane or solo lane with the Chandler, then I think it's really good. I think we'll go about equal in mid. I don't know too much about I think in general like mid lane is really boring right now. It's just like the Chandler is really scary. The mid camps are too important for the Chandler not to come there. So you just stay behind your tower basically and try to wave clear safely. Like there's no one-on-one brawl going on anymore. So
that's why you like
it's
ISIS.
It's not going to be decided in the mid lane. So I think it's like the key probably is to have a really good start in solo lane against the Chandler or in the dual lane, like if we have a better matchup or something.
You like Xaylia versus Wolfie?
Yeah, we're gonna see. He's a beast. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know how he does it.
He's a beast. A soft-spoken beast.
Yeah, we're glad we have it.
There seems to be, like, kind of to our earlier discussions, more of a ability in the European, the way they structure their teams, to kind of shift where the damage comes from in terms of who they put where. Bruisers mid, you know, mages in the jungle, mages in the solo lane, those types of things. I mean, how important is it to have a team comp that has the different damage sources versus a team comp that perhaps has higher CC or objective clear? You know, what's the highest priority thing when you're drafting? When you're picking the gods, are you saying, oh, we have to get a magic jungler, or are you saying, oh, we need more lockdown?
The highest priority when we are drafting at least is definitely to get a really strong support, because I think if the dual lane is able to win the lane early on, you have a way easier time at the first mid camps, and like I already mentioned, the first mid camps snowball the game. You know, if you lose both first mid camps, you're gonna just end up lose the next one, at the next one, lose more vision, gold fury, and just adding up, and you lose the game, right? So I think it's like really important to have a strong dual lane, which comes down not so much to the AD but more to the support, and I think it's like Odin, Wukong that's like just highest priority right now.
It feels like bruisers playing as a support are kind of the flavor of the month right now. You don't really see like support tanks picks.
Sure, the Sobex and Focus.
That's just because they, like, I don't know, they just can put pressure on the mid lane very easy, you know, like, like Bruiser is basically made to kill a mage, right? He's beefy, he has a lot of damage, and the mage cannot kill it in one go, right? So there's no point in fighting him, right? And if you have support, like Odin, like I mentioned earlier already, they can just go into the mid lane and kill the mage. It's just very strong, and like if you win the lane on top of that because of Odin's push and like the Hi-Rez and Wukong's push and Hi-Rez at the same time, if you pick one of those gods, you just have the control over the whole game.
I mean, do you guys agree, the NA players, that Odin, Wukong are the highest priority supports? I mean, I know Shadowq on your team always wants Geb.
Oh, he loves Geb.
Do you take Geb over either of them? Wukong or Odin?
It really depends on the bands, honestly. But
say all three are available.
All three available. That would depend on first pick, I guess.
Who would you first pick?
Crap, man.
Wukong, Odin,
Zach,
Geb.
who would you first pick? No,
on her.
Shit, honestly, it would probably take Sun and Conquerors. Just his mobility is unreal, and the damage output. I mean,
That's true.
you don't have to build him tanky.
You guys would all agree? Take Sun Wukong out of those three, first pick?
No.
No, you take Odin?
No, it depends. If we have first pick, we would actually go for Odin because it forces the enemy team to pick differently. Because you cannot go like, you cannot go like 2 mages when there's enemy Odin, right? You will screw yourself because like you have no jumps on mages. So you go like, let's say Scylla solo lane, Isis or Ra mid is your plan. But they first pick Odin, then it's gonna be like, we better should not do this, right? Because then you can also put like a mana in solo lane, which is also then again strong against just these non-escape gods because that's what Vamana is weak against, just jumps and stuff. But yeah, so we probably take Odin just because it forces the team to just pick differently.
Stealth?
I mean, yeah, Wukong's good, like in lane, but I like gods that come to mid and help me out a lot. And Geb and Odin are just gods that have giant AoE ults that pretty much guarantee a kill. Can blink in, ult, just get in people's faces and lock people down. I think those gods are a lot better for mid helping.
So speaking of mid and the mages that go there often, you know, recently in the last couple weeks we've seen buffs to Poseidon and Isis. I mean, how strong are they comparatively to, you know, standbys in the mid lane like Agni?
I don't really like Isis much. I know he's going to disagree with me on that because he loves her.
Amazing.
She just walks around and she just gets punched on by people. She can't move. She's really slow. That's what I think.
Wing gusts are only mobility.
Yeah, and then after that she just walks. I think it's too slow.
Yeah.
What about Poseidon?
He's really fast. That's the best thing about him, but I feel like if there's a Poseidon in mid, if there's Poseidon in solo, I feel like not many people get Aegises and stuff. They don't worry about him until late game, then he starts killing everybody. But I think Poseidon mid's kind of weak, because that forces jungler to get Aegis, mid to get Aegis, and Poseidon is just super useless against everybody with Aegis. I feel like I throw a crack and, alright, I'll go back to my tower, because that's all I can do. He's fast, he's good at farming, but he just struggles killing people who have Aegis.
And that's something that you need to do out of the mid lane? Be able to burst?
Yeah,
that effectively?
to kill people
Sure.
without Aegis.
So you would pick Agni?
Yeah, he's a little bit better than...
Who's the highest priority mid laner?
Probably Agni's Dash. He's the safest and just probably does the most consistent damage for how safe he is.
But you think the top two are Agni, Alquang?
I like Alquang a lot.
I know you have a word on that.
Other than that, highest priority mid picks would be Isis. And
why is Isis so good? Why do you value Isis so high? And Poseidon, okay, so.
And Poseidon, yeah. That's like in Europe currently like the trend. Isis and Poseidon. Why I value Isis so much? Insane wave clear. First.
The best in the game, right?
Best
we can agree that she's number one.
It is really strong wave clear. The potential of just killing someone at level 5 or 6. If you hit like a long range stun, this is how you play. Just hit a long range stun, you wing gust, and the second time you do it, you just pop your ult, and then enemy's dead, right? Like I already mentioned, the ultimate, it gives you a lot of safety, I think. Like, yeah, she's easy gankable, right? But you just try to not miss position and keep your ultimate, then you have a silence, your stun, and a free mobility backwards dash with the wing gust. So I think she's overall just pretty safe and strong. The damage is insane.
Yeah, you were playing her effectively before the latest buff, which makes her immune to knockback during wing gust.
Yeah.
I mean, that improves her matchups, specifically against Hebo a lot.
Yeah,
so
this was the hard counter to Isis.
Who can counter? Is there a counter, or is it kind of, is she just, you know, you outpush her out damage?
Counter is like hard set. Like, I don't think that mid there's many like hard, like really like counters, you know, like you maybe get outpushed at 1 or 2 points in the game, but I think the strongest god to play against Isis might be Agni, just because of the bombs dealing so much damage and you just can't do anything. Like, you cannot really outtrade Agni, which is also the potential of like Isis, because like the long range stun into silence, a wing gust, like no one can do something, not a Ra, not a Poseidon, like nothing can do something against it, right? But Agni can just like stun your wing gusts, like dash away from your damage, from your like silence or like the spirit ball that's incoming, so and then just bomb you again. So I think Agni is the strongest to play against Isis. It's not a direct counter, but definitely.
Do you put him in the top 2?
Agni? No.
You go Isis, Poseidon.
Yeah, Isis, Poseidon would be top 2 first.
Where do you put Alquang?
Oh.
Down low tier.
Yeah.
So highly valued in North America.
Yeah, I know. It's like I just don't like to play him. It's just he's strong, sure, but the ultimate is avoidable. Like jumps, just like paying attention to it, it's avoidable. I think he's strong when he gets poly, like the one, the Squallist, I think. Yeah. Big slow, and then auto take it does a lot of damage, but he's also easy to get jumped on, right? I mean,
sure.
We value of a stat really high in Europe, so you can just jump on him as soon as he pops ult, jump out again. It's like, yeah, she's so good. That's
She's very good. You guys, not the mid players of this group, but do you have? Do you want to add to this conversation?
Poseidon OP.
Poseidon OP?
I don't get ages as an AD carry and then I just get cracking and okay. That was fun.
Yeah.
Always been an Agni fan. I mean, got a ranged stun, dude. I mean, it pumps out so much damage on poke. So.
Open this one up to the floor. What do you guys think the best ability in the game is? If you're doing ability draft, if you could draft abilities,
ultimate.
who would you take?
Jack's ultimate.
Chop's ultimate? Full damage immunity and
not
3-second silence?
Not even a question.
Best ability in the game? Chop's ultimate?
Yeah.
Freya
I'll probably
Whoop.
agree on that.
Freya Whoop?
Yeah, dude.
Best ability in the game? Wow.
I think it sets up so much. It's pretty much a free kill for the person falling.
Every time.
Yeah.
It just beats Blink then.
What about like Intoxicate?
True.
I mean, Box's ultimate for a long time considered one of the most potent spells in the game.
It's like what,
Tears passive.
2 minutes.
Tears passive, pretty good. Who do you think is the highest priority ban or pick for your team? I mean, is it the Chalk? Is it Thanatos, Ra, or someone else?
I think Chalk is probably going to be banned like at all times. Just we don't want to get punched.
Yeah, he's hard to get away from with the rainstorm, certainly.
I think Agni might be a pretty big ban too. Just that's a lot of versatility and a lot of movement for like a mid guy.
Agni, a god that hasn't seen a lot of bans recently, though.
Yeah, and we think that's maybe why we're losing recently.
Not banning him enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely. I mean, from Team Solo Mid, I mean, Lobster known very much for his Agni play.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for Psiyo, for C9, what do you think? I mean, who's the god you're most scared of? Or you want to keep out of the other team's hands most?
It's actually weird. It's actually Thanatos.
Yeah.
It's just the scary potential of being invaded or in the solo lane with Thanatos. You just cannot win the fight, you know?
Yeah.
If he hits a Skite early game or like mid
Can't
game,
man up
it's
to
just too
Thanatos.
strong. Also mid lane ganks, if he leaves too late at like level 2-3 and you do a mistake in mid lane, like push up too far and he just shows up behind, hits the Skite and silence something, you're dead, you know? You lost like the next 2 mid camps and...
Yes, I mean, it seems like those high mobility gankers seem to be very popular. Geb, Thanatos. I mean, obviously mobility it seems to be one of the highest kind of priority picks in the game right now. Like you mentioned, Sprint Shock.
Yeah.
He's also quite mobile with his axe toss. But kind of going over here, Lassiz with Dignitas. I mean, Thor was a god that you guys ran a lot back maybe 5-6 weeks ago. He had a bug associated with his ultimate, but it seemed to be the Hand of the God change is really when you saw him fall off. I mean, so first I want to ask you, about Thor and what you think about that god, and then kind of who you think is the god you're going to keep out of the pool.
All right. Well, we used to value Thor a lot, mainly because he's one of the only few gods with the range stun, like instant. So I mean, that's huge. The ultimate, actually, none of us even knew about it till.
Yeah, no one knew. It was just.
So that was just kind of unfortunate.
Yeah.
And then, unfortunately, I fell off with Thor. I suck at him. So.
Yeah, I mean, you think it's performance? I mean, we saw him have at one point in the qualifiers about an 80% win rate in North America. I think it was 78, and in Europe it was like 30.
Yeah.
I mean, is it just he just is strong when people forget how to play against him, or is he just?
I think so.
Yeah.
Like, and you mentioned before, like on past broadcasts, like Loki comes in once in a while, comes back out, comes back in and out. And, same with Thor, etc. So.
Just trying to catch people off guard.
Pretty much. Yeah.
So in an NA versus EU game, who are you banning?
Chalk.
Chalk. Keep Chalk out. Everyone's scared of the EU Chalk, man. It's real hard to deal with. All right, YOUNGBAE, TSM #1 seed EU. You're coming in. Who are you banning?
Depends who we're faced with or not, though. I mean,
It's that kind of prescriptive and specific. Always ban Zeus.
Never gonna give anyone Zeus.
Yeah, I think it's that strong.
But then after that, it would vary between either Odin or Chalk, depending on the team you're playing against.
Odin, a god that's seen a lot of resurgence recently. Hey, talk about like what Odin brings to the table and why you think he's so high priority.
Okay, because one, his leap or his one does the most damage at level 1 out of any skills on any god. So
140, is that right?
Yeah. So if you run Odin support, for example, I mean he's built in tanky anyway, regardless, right? So if you leap on the AD carry, he's gonna take a ton of damage, and especially if you're level 2, you have your free as well. And then he's gonna basically be at like half HP, and it's from that point they basically will have the lane pushed up, so they'll be in the lead and be really aggressive against you. But the main problem with Odin is because I think all of the mid guards, like the mages in general, don't have a lead.
Most of them, yeah.
So Odin really screws up the other mid or the mid on our team even, because you know we just can't. We're forced to rush combat blink, and if I'm running like AMC or Shablanka even in the duo lane, that makes it even harder. I need to get that as well. So yeah, Odin just, it just seems he messes with our play style a lot.
Yeah, you see that a lot. I mean, in a lot of MOBAs, right? The ability to break up the team fight seems to be something that's very high priority, kind of regardless of the game in any MOBA situation. What about like his, I mean, the underlooked parts or the undervalued maybe parts of Odin's kit? Extremely potent AoE attack speed stim, and the passive that gives him extra vision. I mean, do you think that those are just kind of tack-ons and they're nice to have, or is it, you know, is it really the one in the three that are doing all the work, or do those abilities really bring a lot to the table?
All of them, like for example, his passive works really good for like if he's, you know, if he's hiding in the jungle trying to gank gank the different lanes. It also helps if like level 1 invades, or you know, like to see how the other enemy team are starting their buffs and what way they're going and stuff like that. So I mean, his passive is always good. His 2 is good, but not early game. It gets to more around mid game where, you know, like you look at like, are you in the position to be doing goal free, early goal frees, or you know, maybe even 10-minute fight jam if he wants to, honestly. And then the Odin would then decide whether he wants to start leveling his 2 up for those situations or not. If he does, then that means that team can really do the, you know, the early objective really easily, especially goal free.
It also gives them the free physical power as you rank it, so a very potent ability. And you know, I'll open this one up to the floor, whoever wants to pick it up. Odin best as a support or as a jungler?
Support.
Support?
So, yeah.
I would say support as well.
I think because of the base stats, basically. You don't need items. Like you could just be like level 6, 7, or just give to rank 2 Midas boots. Just like you go into mid lane, and if you catch the mid lane, you can kill him by your own.
Yeah, you don't need the extra 70 damage from the scaling.
Yeah, the base damage is just too high. Like I think this is why he's so scary as support as well.
I mean, we saw him similar to Thor, but kind of the inverse. Like, just you know, Odin hasn't been changed in some time, and was not at all picked until, you know, I don't even remember really the game. I think it was week 3 or 4 maybe of the at this event where we started seeing him.
In the mid of the season of the qualification, people started to play him in scrims. We were like, well,
you can't stop him.
We gotta pick it up as well.
Personally, like, I hate it when Odin is part of the meta, like especially in casual games. Anytime I get in a game, I'm like, oh, they have an Odin. I'm just like, you can't gank him. He just does so much damage. So hard to kill.
On top of all this potential of killing the mid lane or like the enemy jungler, catch him out. Like in team fights, the ultimate is like, it's crazy. And like YOUNGBAE already said, the objective control you have. If you have like a Freya on the team, like as a jungler and the range ID, you do a 3-minute gold free or 4-minute gold free, and just at level 4 or something.
It seems like he has, you know, one of the things about the ring is that it was buffed actually recently to give the protections to the rest of the team. But there's a lot of things. Odin has a lot of obvious kind of wombo combo synergy, right? You bring him in and use a Zeus ultimate or a Kraken. But then there's a lot of things that are maybe more subtle that are also really powerful, like an Isis ultimate with the added damage mitigation on top of his existing damage mitigation, or an Athena ultimate is basically a guaranteed kill. So, I mean, from a versatility standpoint, highly versatile, very good synergy with other gods. I think that maybe an interesting question that a lot of people would have, and it's definitely a highly contested thing, is who do you guys think the best solo laner in the world is? You can't vote for anyone on your own team.
They're all the same. They don't do anything. I watch solo lane streams. It's so boring. I turn it on when I want to go to sleep. They sit there and wait until everybody surrenders. Because that's all you do. Nobody's the best solo laner.
Solo Island?
That's my answer.
I don't know. Best, I would say, one of the biggest god pool. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's how
it's like, I think this is like the most important thing, that you can react to any situation, you know? It's like if they have a really good jungler and like the solo lane is also like, and you have to pick up like Thanatos now or something, you know? To like beat them, or you like, if the solo lane says, he's confident, you can pull it off, then I don't know.
Yeah, I think.
So who do you think has the biggest god pool of the soloers? Or who does? Or who has the weakest?
See, that's the problem. I don't think
the weakest.
They have like a big, or the top 4, top 8 solo laners. I don't think they have kind of like a wide range of god pool compared to like a jungler would, for example. They tend to kind of only play like one bruiser, one mage, and you know, one kind of assassin type if they really wanted to play low-key and be annoying the whole game, which they can.
Now they run solo lane ADCs, solo lane hunters, here and there.
Yeah, sometimes. Like, I think the weakest god pool might be Gortek, but just because he just doesn't have the practice for it, you know. Not the like he's just started playing recently again, but he picked it up well. He plays a lot of Aphrodite, I think, as mage because it's safe.
And Scylla as well.
And Scylla, yeah. But Scylla, yeah, Celia and Enki also play a lot of Scylla. I think Enki might be one of the strongest solo laners actually. Because he's like, he's very versatile. I don't know, he plays a lot and he plays solid all the time. Like when we played against him at least, it's like he's very
You don't
solid.
see a lot of bad games from NQ.
No.
They seem to all be pretty solid.
Yeah, especially his tier.
Yeah. So, you know, kind of to that point maybe of tier and of, you know, I think Scylla, interesting god. You know, she being the latest god released that's available in the pool. I mean, where do you think she stacks up? You think she'll be picked? I mean, she was picked a bit in the qualifiers and the recent tournaments.
Will be picked. I don't think that we'll see Scylla mid, but more so solo lane because.
A low sustain god though. And low wave clear for the first,
is,
10 waves.
Yeah, you have low wave clear, right? And that's the problem in mid, you know, because you have to have, if you have really bad wave clear, you will struggle at the first mid camps, right? You will get positioning late, and then you might get rotated on, and then like 3 people collapse on like 2, and you lose the first mid camp, and this snowballs very hard. So I don't think you will see her mid. I think when you play her solo and you can survive the early game to like level 8 or something, when you can clear it properly, then she's very strong. Because like every time she makes an ability, she gets like what, 20 magical power. So late game, it's gonna be like really crazy damage. And like if she comes late to team fight or is good positioning with the ultimate, in some scrims, NQ got quadra kills just because you came in late and like got 1 kill and you just like kept on killing people.
Do you have to ban out gods like Ra, like strong soul lane pushers to play her?
No,
or can she stack up to
so
Ra?
so far we tried it. It's really rough early game, but you just tell your jungler you help out a bit more and then like just have to get it to the point. There's nothing really but Sambo Kong with really high poke and mobility. That's really hard. And Chuck. These 2 solo laners are really strong against Scylla, but other than that,
who are they not strong against?
Yeah.
So that's actually a pretty good question. Who's the best? Who's the best god to pick if the enemy team has a Chakra Sun Wukong for the solo lane?
Oh.
One of those high poke bruisers.
That's really hard. I think good is Ra. I think Ra just does well because he is like good push and sustain, right? I think it's more coming down to which jungler you pick, right? Like if you pick a AD jungler and you have an AD solo lane, right? He's just gonna build armor and you're just gonna go in and do nothing, right? But if you're able to pick like a Freya or Ebo jungler, right? Then you might be able to kill, like and then like Bruiser like the mana or something solo lane, and you play against a Chuck. You just might be able to bait him and then just come behind him and like with the mage damage, or if he builds magical resist, the physical damage from a mana, you might just be able to kill him. But other than that, it's really hard. They are just too much sustain and like mobility. So yeah, it's more down to jungler and solo lane pick.
Well, guys, I hope that you enjoyed the roundtable here. Thank you to all the boys for joining me from Team Solo Mid, YOUNGBAE, team-dignitas, Lassiz from Cognitive Gaming, MLC St3alth, and from Cloud9, HyperX, Psiyo. Hope you guys enjoyed the tournament and all of the things I had to say. Boys, you have any final words?
I hope for great games. Thanks Hi-Rez and everyone who supports the game. Make it so great and make us come here to Atlanta and compete for over $200,000. It's really amazing, and I hope for a great tournament.
We all do.
Pretty much what he said.